Hello and welcome to the Merle Unlocked Podcast. I'm Merle.
And I'm Locke.
Set sail and low expectations for everything nerd, accompanied by a healthy, albeit shameful, helping pointless banter, lack of focus, and questionably acquired knowledge.
And more.
And more. For today's topic, I wanted to talk about this idea I had. It's probably not original.
What is original in this world?
Yeah, true. All right. So I had this thought the other day, seeing life as an audition. Where I know we've had this conversation before. There's these different characters that you portray, right? Especially while you're growing up until you become comfortable with yourself. We have these different characters that we are willing to share with other people. One we're willing to share with strangers, one we share with friends, acquaintances, and then one we share with people that we're very close with, like our significant others or close family members. And then we have another character which never sees the light of day, our true selves. We don't want people to know our true selves because...
lest we be judged.
Yeah, exactly. We're just unwilling to share it because it's too vulnerable. And we don't want to share that with other people because we are, like you said, afraid of judgment, or we're ashamed of who we really are. And so we have these characters that we put on for other people. I feel like throughout your life, going through school especially, that character is always evolving. I've seen it in my daughter. I know it from personal experience where year after year, it's just constantly evolving to be able to fit in, trying to play the chameleon, as it were.
It's a dangerous role to fill.
Yeah.
In some cases, yeah.
This whole life is an audition idea. Potential actors are going out to all these different auditions and casting agents, whatever it's called. They're trying to find the perfect person for a role. And I feel like that's kind of what we're trying to figure out as we get older. We try to find that role that we're perfect for. So these characters that we're portraying, it's a lot of different characters. So they're constantly changing because, sometimes it's forced. We can't roll with it, or we don't know enough about that character to be able to portray it convincingly. It takes us a lifetime to be able to find that role that we're the perfect fit for. I feel like we don't find it until our old age. They say people never change, but realistically, we change rather drastically throughout our lifetime.
I feel that we do know it as we're younger. It's just the constant peer pressure, and without somebody to, properly try to get advice from. Because you might not have the best influences as far as family goes that might be able to put you on that path or explain to you that you shouldn't have to follow with what everybody likes. You're not going to make everybody happy. That was one of the things I was told when I was younger, is just, you're not going to make them happy. Which I was just like, but I'm going to try.
Obviously, we're all going to try to, because, we have particular people that we want to try and fit in with, or people that we really would like to be friends with because, we think they're cool, we think they're interesting. And so we want to portray a character that person would like.
And the reason why you say once we get older is because now we've had to go through that life lesson of why we shouldn't portray to be someone that we're not. We end up getting roped up in the wrong groups. You end up getting put in these situations that we probably shouldn't be put in.
That's the point, though, that I'm trying to make, is that we never actually become ourselves. Maybe there's a lack of care when you get older because, you often see in older folk that if you knew them from before, let's say, for example, your grandparents, you've known them for a long time and they've always been proper and saying things that are socially acceptable and things like that. But once they get old enough, they stop caring, and you just see how racist they actually are, or whatever it may be, or misogynistic. Yeah, whatever it is. Maybe it's a lack of caring at that point. And I can't say for sure it's like their true selves, or rather they're still hiding their true self and they're still portraying a character that they find interesting. But I'm not completely convinced that I've found my character yet, because I feel like I've evolved myself quite drastically over the years. Maybe not drastically. maybe I've just settled down a bit, because for a long time there, especially in my teen years and early 20s, these characters that I would portray were rather abrasive. I leave it up to or explain it as a kind of vibe check, just to see, the kinds of people that I would enjoy hanging out with or not. And, some people have passed that vibe check, some haven't. Some people are a little bit more accepting or don't take themselves too seriously, which I enjoy those kinds of people. But I don't feel like I'll settle until I get into old age. Maybe is trying to bridge the divide, as it were. Maybe as you get older, the characters that you're portraying, they get closer and closer to the same character, which is close to your true self, perhaps, but not exactly. I guess you just get comfortable at that point. Maybe we can reconvene when we're in our 50s and 60s and we could decide on this or have a better understanding of how we've evolved over the years. At this point, I can't say for certain, but I've seen it a lot in my child. Just the other day, I say the other day, it was probably more like a month ago, but she came home and she was really upset because she was being made fun of at school. People were just poking fun at her. And she said to me, she's done trying. She goes, well, I keep trying to fit in with certain people, but they just keep putting me down and making fun of me and telling me that I can't be that person or I'm not that person. And she's like, from now on, I'm just going to be who I want myself to be. I'm going to dress how I want to look, and I'm not going to buy into trends people push onto me. I was like, well, it's odd. You're in middle school and you're already coming to this conclusion.
Let's hope that sticks.
Yeah, it's not something that I've ever really pushed on her, because I've always been rather empathetic as to all these different trends that she was trying to get into. I understand you're trying to fit in with your friends or particular people. I get it. I'm here to support you while you go through this journey, and I'm not going to fight you on it, because the last thing I want to do is shame her for wanting to blend in with folk. I'm like, I did the same thing when I was a kid. I see it as completely normal. It's fine. I'm not going to do this, go out there and be yourself. Fuck that. We're not all about that. We're trying to be realistic here. But that bit of growth that she came to or she concluded for herself, I was really proud of her for it. And it made me think of this topic. It took me so much longer to come to that conclusion myself. I guess it's different from person to person. And I do see it in a lot of people that have stopped trying or stopped trying to fit in. And, I admire those people. How could you not? It's brave in a sense. Well, I guess, the term brave is used rather easily nowadays. It doesn't take much to be brave, according to other people's opinion.
Depends on who you ask.
I applaud them, people that are willing to do that and just excuse themselves from the current trends, because I feel like that's a slippery slope. You're quick to lose yourself.
What, by not following trends?
No, by following trends. You quickly lose yourself in it.
You're going to lose yourself if you don't follow people. Just be a sheep.
Yeah, just be a sheep. You'll be fine. How about your personal experience as you were going through school?
I felt like an outcast when I was real young. We were implants to the town that we had lived in when I was a kid, so didn't know anybody. I was just a kid, so none of the kids would have known it anyway, but we didn't really know anybody in this area. It wasn't until being bullied that really just kind of kicked in the, are you going to take that? You can either be beaten or join in. That was kind of the voice that went into my head was, are you going to take that or are you going to give it right back? And I gave the same thing right back to the bully. And now I was seen as the bad person. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm seen as the bad person when that kid over there was picking on me for wearing glasses? That's just not right. It's not right at all. So I get pulled in, the first time ever getting in trouble, knowing that now I'm going to have to deal with saying it to my mom, which is just going to be a terrifying experience, right? Am I going to get yelled at? And she was actually more understanding about it, but she's like, you can't go doing that to other kids. It's like, he's picking on me for wearing glasses. All I did was shove him against the wall and tell him, don't call me Four Eyes. That's it. Now I'm the bad guy. Then I just kind of fell into that at that point. I was just like, it's either bully or be bullied. So I bullied the bullies. If I seen them picking on somebody, I usually made jokes right back at them. It was either they would react in a way where they're like, hey, fuck you, man. And maybe want to pick a fight with me or something.
As far as bullies went, I too had a lot of bullies initially because I homeschooled until middle school before I started going to public school. And I learned real quick that a lot of people just aren't going to like you. It took me a while to be able to circumvent being highlighted by bullies. As far as that went, yeah, I had a lot of people mess with me at first, but I never put it down to a situation that you put yourself in, where it's like bully or be bullied. I learned to kind of calm the bear. I would start cracking jokes, or I'd play along or be a good sport. No matter how violent or passive aggressive they're being towards me, I decided to portray it as if I took everything as a joke. They always found that funny. I actually befriended a lot of my bullies throughout school because I would treat it as a joke. I wouldn't take it seriously or take myself too seriously, remain humble, and they found that personality charming to the point where they would actually try to be friends with me. I remember the biggest bully I had was in high school, and this guy would mess with me relentlessly until I started doing that to him, and it got to the point where I would hang out at his house almost every weekend. Because we just became buddies, because I didn't take myself seriously and I didn't take what he was saying or doing seriously. I mean, there's all different ways, I suppose, of getting around it. People just need to find their own way. There's no right way necessarily. I know the wrong way is just to ignore it, because that doesn't help anybody. I don't know why that's common advice. That's stupid.
I've had questions a lot as I've gotten older and started kind of reflecting on a lot of the past. So that bully or be bullied, was that me? I want to say I took kind of the same approach. Like, certain people I joked with, and that often we made friends. One of them we actually are friends with and we play games with. He started by bullying me. Now, I know just by saying that he's going to say that's wrong.
We all know you were the bully.
He was the bully. I was not the bully. He started with an approach, and I made a rather crude remark right back to him. And he's like, hey.
Hey.
And I'm like, wait a minute. You started this.
What we're coming down to here, as far as finding the character that's true to you, I suppose you could say. I suppose it's mostly down to trial and error, conflict and resolution, and eventually you'll get there. I don't think there's any one way to find it. It's just life experience will lead you to the character you want to portray, or you're willing to portray.
I've kind of taken it upon myself now that I'm older to also hope that I can teach my nephew some of those things. That way he doesn't have to experience it for himself. And if he does, maybe he can find a better solution to resolving the issue than I may have.
No matter how you look at it, I mean, we can give all the advice that we want, but people will find their own way. We can't harp on them constantly or tell them how to handle situations. They're just going to have to figure it out on their own.
People would be like, my uncle gave me this advice, and they'd be like, he pushed a bully and he called someone else names.
That's yeah, so I guess what we learned here is don't take advice from Locke. Man's a monster.
Wait. That's the message.
If you enjoy the Merle and Locke podcast, please consider becoming a patron by going to patreon.com/Merle and Locke, or simply follow the link in the description. Thank you.